Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name's Renee. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. I appreciate you being here, and welcome to Get Ready With Me Wednesday. I do this every week with my girl Kat. We've been doing this for, well, I don't know how long. It's been so long, and you know, getting older, your brain's not always there. But anyways, today I'm going to use the Boss Babe Betty Buxom palette that I got in my Bizy Beauty Customs PR box for the month of October. So if you want to see the look I do and some things I'm going to share, then stick around because I'll be right back. Thanks for sticking around, guys. Okay, so let's get into this. I've already prepped my skin. I used my Avio Beauty Face Primer, and I also used a little bit of this Revolution Pro blur like primer stuff. So I've been using that just to kind of see if it does anything. And I'm just going to get ready and I'm going to start talking about some stuff. I had seen Alice Lynn Loves Being a Grammy, and also Erica, who tagged me in this, and it's 50 facts about me or 50 things you may not know about me or whatever. And I started to make a list, and then I was like, you know what? Let's just start at the beginning and I'll go through stuff and hopefully I get to 50. If not, I tried. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put on my foundation. I'm using my Believe Beauty Skin Finish foundation, and this is in nude. $5 foundation. I wish I had a Dollar General around here. I have some, so I'm good on it, but it would be nice if there was a Dollar General somewhere around here so that when I got low, I could go get some more. But anyways, so first thing is my name's Renee, of course. Beauty and More with Renee. So when I was younger, I was told that my name was actually going to be Rhonda. They were going to name me Rhonda Renee. And for some reason, they decided to choose Renee Louise. And I believe that the reason they picked the Louise is because my great-grandmother's name was Louise, her first name. And my dad's mom, my grandma, her middle name is Louise. Her name's Elsie Louise. And so I think they decided to go ahead and go with Renee Louise for that reason. So pretty cool. And then they always used to talk about that song, Don't Walk Away, Renee. I don't know if maybe it came from that as well. I'm not sure when that song came out, but I was born in 1973, February 6th. I'm an Aquarius, I'm a water baby, and I've always loved the water my whole life, so I'm not surprised that I'm an Aquarius. Let's see, I was born in California, Orange County, California. My dad was in the Marine Corps when I was born. He's actually from Maryland, from Baltimore, Maryland, is where he was born and raised. And when he was in the military, he got stationed in California, which is where he met my mom. Fun fact, when they met, my mom was pregnant with my older sister, Michelle. And my dad was in the hospital, and there was a friend of my mom's that was a nurse that asked my mom if she would come visit him because he didn't have any family. And so the rest is history, because she went up and visited. My older sister was given up for adoption. And then I was born 3 years later. I think I'm going to put some more concealer on. This is number 7. From what I've heard, my dad didn't think that he could raise a baby that wasn't his. And so my mom gave her up for adoption. But I did meet her when I was 15, and we used to hang out all the time because we were in California. My parents got divorced when I was 9. My sister Brandy was, I want to say, 6 or 7. We're like 2 years apart, but kind of 3 years apart because her birthday's at the end of the month and my birthday's at the beginning of the month. And my little sister Missy was, I want to say, 3. And I remember when my parents got divorced, I was kind of like, I don't know, kind of like the mom to them because I was the older sister. I have a scar here on my forehead that I got when I was little. I was down at my grandma's house one day and me and my cousin were running around and I slipped and fell and hit my head on the coffee table that was in my grandmother's living room. Hence why from that time forward, my grandmother never had a coffee table in her living room from that point on, because after that happened. Let's see, what else? I've lived in Maryland. I've lived in California. I have lived in New Jersey and here in Washington now. I moved up here to Washington when I was 19. I went to high school in California. After my parents got divorced, my mom had a nervous breakdown. I think I'm going to prime my lids with the Thrive that I've been using. It's getting low and I'm trying to pan it. Where was I at? Okay, so after my parents got divorced, my mom was taking care of us. We were living with my mom at the time. My mom had a nervous breakdown and my grandma, my mom's mom, came from California to come get her and us and took us out to California. When we got out to California, my mom was in the hospital and we were living with my grandma. I barely remember any of this. The only part that I remember is that when my grandfather, I guess, got sick and my grandma couldn't take care of us and him while he was sick. So my uncle came over and I remember him picking us up and I remember him, we went to like a police station and when we got there, he just basically dropped us off there and from there we were taken to a group home because my sister Missy was only 3. I'm going to go in with, hold on, let me use that one again. I'm going to go into Cashmere Craving and I'm going to put that all over my lid. He took us, so where was I? Okay, so my uncle came and picked us up. He took us to a police station, from what I can remember, and the police from there took us to the group home. We were in the group home for like 30 days, and because, oh, that's where I was. Because my sister was only 3 years old at the time, she was separated from me and my sister Brandy. And the only time we saw my little sister Missy the entire time we were there was one time, and it was through like this fence. And I remember they only had like these little cubbies with beds and a nightstand, and they had this big huge dresser in the front, and you would have to pick your clothes from there. And I remember I always was last pick and I hated the clothes that I got. I remember one time getting these bell bottoms, and I know that people like bell bottoms, but I just don't like them. They're just not me. That's a fun fact about me. I don't like bell bottoms. And I don't like shoulder pads. I remember Erica was talking about that in her video about shoulder pads. And I don't like them. And I hated when they were sewed in. I'm going into invite only. I hated when they were sewed in because I felt like I looked like, I don't know, I guess now looking back, I felt like I looked like a linebacker that should be on the field playing football. You know what I mean? Like, I just felt like it just wasn't me, you know? Just like bell bottoms, they're just not me. They're not my style. I was more like, I don't know, I remember wearing stretch pants and jelly bracelets, and I was kind of like a mixture of things. Blue jeans, I love blue jeans and denim jackets and t-shirts. I very rarely really wore skirts and stuff like that, just once in a while. My favorite band ever is Bon Jovi. The first concert that I ever went to was George Michael. And I kind of am like going off here. Let me finish the story about the home. So we were in there for 30 days and my dad was back east having fundraisers and stuff, raising money to come get us. And he was finally able to come get us. And then we went back to Maryland. Me and my sisters lived with my grandparents while my dad was getting a place for us to be able to live with him. At the time, he was married to a new lady. I think they just had like a little apartment for the two of them. So anyways, my grandfather built a bed for me, which is pretty cool because my Aunt Reen used that bed her entire life. She lived with my grandparents, because her husband died when I was real little. And so my grandfather told my grandma that they would have her live with them, and so she did for the rest of her life. My grandfather was a really good guy, I love seafood, crabs, shrimp, lobster. Shrimp are my favorite. My dad makes the most amazing shrimp. My favorite crab is blue crab from Maryland. If you haven't tried them, you don't know. So you can't comment on it unless you've tried them. And I've tried crab from up here, and I've tried crab from back there. And blue crab, there's nothing like it in the entire world. I love that stuff. What else? Let's see. My stepdad, right before I graduated, actually, had gotten offered a job at Boeing, which is how they ended up here. He was working for McDonnell Douglas. I did not want to move 2 weeks before I graduated. So my best friend Leah at the time, I asked her if her mom would let me live with them. And so I moved in with them, and me and her had plans we were going to move up to Hollywood, because we used to go up to Hollywood every weekend. That was like our stomping grounds, our hangout area. And so we would go up to Hollywood every weekend, and we would promote for bands. So I would walk around the Sunset Strip with her. We would get all dolled up, go up there, and we would hand out flyers for this band that we worked for. And then they would give us tickets for concerts, so we wouldn't have to pay. Such fun times, such fun times. I remember one time we got dressed up and went to Hollywood for Halloween, because they shut off Hollywood Boulevard, and they have like this big, huge, like Halloween type parade. And so we went up there for the night, and it was a lot of fun. And speaking of Hollywood, that's where I met the first two famous people that I had ever met, and that was Axl Rose and Pauly Shore. That was the first time I had taken my sister Brandy up there with me to hang out. I think she was 15. I want to say she was 15 at the time. But we were up there hanging out, and people on the strip were talking about how they had seen Axl Rose and Pauly Shore walking the strip. And my sister was like, let's go find them. And I'm like, I don't know. But anyways, we ended up walking around, and we couldn't find them. And then towards the end of the night, we were crossing the street by the whiskey. Lo and behold, wouldn't you know, Axl Rose walks up right next to us. And he starts talking to my sister, asking her how old she was. And she was like, I don't want to tell you. And he was like, it's okay. And I mean, I don't know exactly how he said it, but basically it was saying, it's okay, you can tell me. And she was like 15, and he was like, well, just be careful up here. And we had walked around like a little earlier, and we actually ran into Pauly Shore too. And we both were able to get autographs. I still have those autographs in my hope chest over here. So, yeah. I mean, it's not like I could get what do you call it when you get something that's been autographed and it comes with a certificate? Like, I don't have a certificate. They just signed the back of a band flyer that I happen to have on me at the time. I moved up to Pittsburgh, California with my best friend and her family. And so our plans didn't go through because she had gotten into a car accident. The car accident kind of ruined our plans of getting a place in Hollywood. So we all moved up to Pittsburgh, California, and I was up there, I want to say, just for a few months. I got a job there for a little bit, but it just, me and my best friend used to go up to San Francisco all the time. It was kind of like taking the place of when we went to Hollywood. So we would go up to San Francisco and go to the nightclubs and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. But then she met somebody, and she was always hanging out with him and stuff like that. And things just weren't working out for me there. So then I ended up calling my mom and asked my mom if they could come get me. So they packed up the van that my stepdad had, and they drove down to get me. And I believe that was in April of 1992, I want to say. So that's when I ended up coming up here. And my sister worked at the McDonald's in Puyallup, and she got me a job down there. And then I met somebody like a little bit after I was up here, and he was bum number one. So yeah, let's see. I have been married and divorced. I got married in June of 2003. My son was born in December of 2003. He was 2 weeks late. He did try to come 6 weeks early. I had gone in to see the midwife, and I had been having these like issues, not like issues, but everybody kept telling me they were Braxton Hicks. And I felt like I was getting them too much, and I kept telling them, you know, that it wasn't. But then I kind of let it go. I was like, okay, maybe it is just Braxton Hicks, but I was getting them quite often. And when I went in to go see my midwife for an appointment, I explained to her what was going on, and it happened to happen there. So she was like, oh, honey, that's not Braxton Hicks. That's a contraction. So they put me on like these, I don't know if it was like an IV thing that they hooked me up to, or if they just gave me a shot. I can't remember all that well. But they hooked me up to that to stop the contractions, and I am assuming that little Junior got a little peeved and ended up being 2 weeks late. He was supposed to be born like November 27th or something like that, and he ended up coming December 11th. I had a C-section. I tried to do natural labor, and it just didn't work. I feel like it's because he was 2 weeks late, and he was just too big for me to have. And his neck, when he was born, he had a kink in his neck. So he kind of like had a bend, and we had to do like physical therapy when he was a baby to straighten his head out. But I think because of that, he was stuck. And like after almost 24 hours of being in labor and watching his heart rate drop and go back up, it finally dropped and wouldn't come back up. And so that's when I had to go in for my C-section. I think they gave me a lot of anesthesia because I completely blacked out. I don't remember anything from the time they brought my ex-husband in to be with me until they were wheeling me back in the room. There's a whole time frame. So I don't remember hearing my son cry for the first time. I don't remember seeing him for the first time. So that's kind of unnerving. I was married for almost 15 years. I got divorced because my ex-husband had an affair for a second time. I think I'm going to use some Wet n Wild concealer and put this on my lid. So my ex-husband, I found out he was having an affair, and this was the second time that this had happened that I know of during the course of our relationship. So I actually found out Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Eve 2017. He had texted me. We were supposed to go do something that night. I think we were going to go to the Wild Waves Christmas lights or something like that. At the time, I didn't know they were closed that night. I didn't find out they were closed that night until later. But he said he had some things that he had to do and that he would meet me at home. I had already had kind of some suspicions about stuff going on, but I just wasn't sure. You know what I mean? No proof. I had a feeling he might be at one of the bars down from my house. So on my way home, I was driving past that bar. I just had a really extremely funny feeling. I'm going to go into upgrade. I had an extremely funny feeling that he might be there. So I drove down the alleyway because, of course, if he didn't want me to know he was there, he would park in the back. And that's where he parked quite often. The times that I would go there with him, he always parked in the back. So I drove down the alleyway. Lo and behold, his car was there. So I pulled around front, parked my car, got out, walked in, and what do I see? Him with this girl right there at the table. She's standing in front of him, taking a selfie with him. I walked up and I said, hey. I looked at him, I said, hey, and I looked at her, I said, hey, I'm his wife. But I dropped an F-bomb in there. Yes, that is my favorite cuss word. I do drop the F-bomb a lot. I don't know what it is. I guess maybe using those kind of words make me feel, I don't know, some kind of way. And they're just words in the end to me. That is a really pretty shade. They're just words in the end to me. Whoever decided they were bad words, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, how does that even happen? Who decides what is a bad word and what is not a bad word? Because they all have, like, meanings behind them. I guess maybe because it's just derogatory or slang stuff. I don't know. Let's see. What else can I tell you guys? I'm trying to think. I was married at my ex-husband's mom and stepdad's house. We were supposed to do the wedding in the backyard, but this should have been a sign from the beginning. Right before I was supposed to get married, it started storming, so we ended up having to get married in the living room of their house, which wasn't very big, but we made it work. Let's see, what else? I've been at my job for 20 years. I love my job. I love to work around money. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I'm good at my job. I'm very good at my job. Let's see what else. I got divorced in 2018. I did Uber Eats for, I want to say, a year after my divorce. I had to get, well, even before my divorce, because, well, there's just some stuff that happened and I needed to get a lawyer to fix something, and I had to get the money together, so I started doing Uber Eats. And after my bankruptcy was signed off on, I had 3 months to get caught up on my house and my car. Those were the only things that I wanted to keep, and I told him to wipe everything else out. I just want to keep my house and my car. And so I busted my butt for a year to build up a little bit of a savings and to also get caught up on my payments that I was behind, because I was behind a lot. I love 80s music, but I'll listen to anything. I love all kinds of music. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do right now. What am I doing? I'm going to use my Too Faced bronzer. But yeah, I listen to all kinds of music, from country, old country, new country. I listen to rock, like Scorpions and Metallica. Like, I have a wide variety range of music that I like and that I listen to. And it just depends on what kind of a mood I'm in. My eyes turn blue when I cry. Very blue when I cry. I actually have hazel eyes, just like my mom. My dad has deep blue eyes, which my sister got those. My little sister passed away 2016 of an accidental drug overdose. And then my older sister, Michelle, passed away, let's see, the beginning of 2019, I want to say. And she was walking on the freeway at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and she was hit by a car. So, mental illness is very important to me because it's happened to my mom and it happened to my sister. So my whole life I've been afraid that it was going to happen to me, that I was going to have a breakdown like my mom and end up in the hospital. It's always something that's weighed on my mind. My sister did have, my sister Brandy, she had a breakdown right before, I want to say right before my little sister Missy passed away. So yeah, that was a little bit hard because she doesn't remember much of it because she was in the middle of her breakdown. But she's better now. She's a lot better now. What do I want to do now? I think I'm going to use my Pacifica blush. Let me get a brush. Let's see, what else? What else? I have a younger sister. My dad got married My dad's been married 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to say 4 times he's been married. His third wife, she had a baby. Her name is Victoria, and she has an IG, and she does SFX makeup, and she's extremely talented. She is a makeup artist. I believe it's her dream to work on a like feature film, you know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff that she does, like for like scary movies, you know, she does that kind of stuff. Movie I do not like the most is The Exorcist. I don't know why, but growing up, that movie has always been so scary to me. I guess it's something about the possession thing, and also the fact that, where'd the lid for this go? Oh, there it is, right in front of my face. That my stepmom used to tell me it was based on a true story. So that always kind of like freaked me out a little bit, thinking that, you know what I mean? When you're a kid, somebody says it's based on a true story. You're thinking like every little detail of that movie is true. And so I was scared to death of being possessed. So that movie just always freaked me out. My favorite movie, well, that's kind of a hard one to go because I have so many. All the way back to Breakfast at Tiffany's. I love that movie so much. And then like all the like 80s movies, Pretty in Pink, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, St. Elmo's Fire, The Outsiders, like great movies. Pretty in Pink, Bridges of Madison County, which is Meryl Streep and Clint Eastwood, was a great movie. I love tearjerkers and romantic comedies. I don't know. I know some people find them to be stupid, but I don't. You know what I mean? There's a part of me that watches these rom-coms, and it's just like, it touches me in a certain way, and it just makes me believe in love, that there is love out there. But then maybe it gives me like a false expectation of what love really should be. But I'm not stupid. I know life isn't a movie. I know that there's somebody out there that will love me like I need to be loved, if that makes any sense, which would kind of, you know, be my romantic comedy, my version of a romantic comedy. I'm very sensitive. I wear my heart on my sleeve. My feelings get hurt very easily, and sometimes when my feelings get hurt, I can be a little rude, I guess. Not like mean, but I can just be very short-tempered, sometimes not crazy. I mean, I know people think that I'm super sweet, and I am. I have a big heart. I would do anything for anybody as long within my means. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody needed a place to stay for a couple nights, I would give them a place to stay. You know what I mean? If they needed a ride somewhere, I would give them a ride somewhere. That's just how I am. I like to help people out when they need it, if I can. It makes me feel good. I love photography, and I love karaoke. I used to go once a week before the pandemic, and unfortunately I just haven't gotten back into it yet. I love to travel. Vegas is one of my favorite places to go. I've been to Victoria, Canada, because it's like right up north. We took the Clipper before a couple times. I love it up there. Victoria is absolutely beautiful. If you ever have the chance to go up there and check it out, I highly recommend that you do. We went up there one year in December, and they had like this Christmas parade thing up there where it was like a trucks, all kinds of different trucks that were all decorated for the holiday. And it was just really cool to be up there for that. You know what I mean? It's a really neat place. I've been up there a couple times. I've been to Montana when I can't remember, maybe 23 or 24. My friend at the time won a trip to the Marlboro Ranch in Montana. And that place is so freaking cool, you guys. We did skeet shooting and horseback riding. What else did we do? Horseback riding, skeet shooting, whitewater rafting. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was terrified to do it. But I did it, and it was so much fun. So much fun. I had a blast. I have pictures. I don't know if I can find pictures to go along with some of this stuff. I'll try to insert them, although it's going to be pretty difficult to do that. So I can't make any promises. But yeah, it was really fun. I've been to New York City a couple times. I've been to Mexico. I went on a cruise with my ex-husband and my son, and we went to Puerto Vallarta, and where else did we go? Cabo and Puerto Vallarta. And that was an amazing trip. My son had the best time. Let's see, where else have I been? I've been to Wyoming, New York City, New Jersey. I've been to Texas. I went to San Antonio on a church retreat when I was in high school. I loved it there. We went to a restaurant called Dick's, and it was on the Riverwalk, and I remember thinking that place was so freaking cool because you didn't have any like utensils or anything like that, which was really neat. Ocean City, Maryland. I've been to a few places. I would really like to go to like Italy, Paris, England. I would really love to see places like that sometime in my life. I've been to Hawaii. I won a trip. I worked for a travel agency. When I was in my late 20s, I worked for the travel agency for a little bit. And yes, I got to book trips to Vegas and Reno. Not at first. And I did take these classes and stuff where you have to like learn all the airport codes and stuff like that for the cities. I still have some of the paperwork in my hope chest. My browser not cooperating with me. Yeah, so I had to memorize like all the codes, and I passed the test, so they let me book little trips because Vegas and Reno are very easy trips to book. So that was quite the experience. Let's see, I worked at a dollar store for a while. I've had a car repoed because my boyfriend at the time just, it's a long story, but yeah, my car got repoed and broke my heart. What else? I'm not really sure. I'm trying to think of different things. My favorite ice cream is chocolate chip mint and mint chocolate chip, and I love Rocky Road. So good, so good. I need to curl my lashes. This video is going to be super long, guys, and I'm super sorry because I'm just chatting it up. My favorite candy, I remember Erica talking about that in her video, was her favorite candy. I like lemon heads and Snicker bars. They're so good. And when I was younger, whatchamacallits. I used to love whatchamacallits. And Whoppers. Whoppers are really good too. My favorite holiday is Christmas because it was, I believe because of the memories that I have of Christmas growing up and how my dad always goes way beyond to decorate because it's like his favorite holiday too. He loves to decorate for Christmas. A couple years ago, was it 2 or 3 years ago when they bought their house? It might have been a little bit longer when they bought their house, but my dad actually started putting Christmas decorations up in September. That's how many lights are on his house. Just saying. And it looks absolutely stunning. When I went out there to visit, they still have the lights on the house because my dad can't, you know, because he's got cancer and the chemo and stuff like that. So I don't think my stepmom really wants him to, you know, be getting on the roof and stuff like that. So I think they just keep them up to make it easier. I still have Christmas lights on my house, and they've been up there for, well, a long time because I don't really know how to do it, and I don't have anybody to help me with it really, so I just leave them up. Last year I went and got new ones because some of the ones that are on the house weren't lit up. They weren't working, so I just went and got new ones. This is my Laura Geller Fortifying Lash Primer. I'm getting ready because we're going to the pumpkin patch and go do corn maze. So I'm super excited about that with my sister. So I'm just getting ready for that. Where was I at? I lost track of where I was at. I'm just putting work down here on the lower lash line, which is also out here on the outer V. I haven't really been telling you that. When I'm through, when I go back and I'm editing, if there's anything that I got off track on, I'll try and input it up in here so it kind of finishes off the thought. That's how my mind works. It's all over the place. I'm an extreme overthinker about everything. I'm using this Blend Bunny brush and I'm going to go into invite only and I'm just going to blend this out. Yeah, I am a worrywart. I always have been. I think I get it from my mom because my mom was a big worrier. I'm almost 50. I'll be 50 in February, which I'm sure that you could have figured out from me telling you when I was born. But yeah, I'm almost 50. I bought my house in 2019, which worked out in my favor, you guys, because they just wanted to finance me on the house, and because I was the only one on the finance, they didn't want to put my ex-husband's name on the paperwork either. So while we were signing the paperwork, I noticed that he wasn't signing as much papers as I was. There was a lot of stuff I was signing on my own, and I kind of figured out at that time that he was basically signing away his rights to the house because they didn't want his name on it, or because his name wasn't on it, something like that. And I kept that secret the entire time I was married, just in case, and I'm glad I did. I feel like it's really important for you to be able to take care of yourself as a woman. I'm gonna curl my lashes a little more. I always told my ex-husband, and I think that maybe this like hurt his feelings or made him upset, and maybe that's part of the reason, not all of it, but maybe a little bit of insecurity on his part in the relationship, that I don't need you. I want you, but I don't need you. And I always knew even when I was younger, because of everything I watched my mom go through, that I swore I would never have to depend on anybody, and that I would always be able to take care of myself. And I have, you know, like I busted my butt to keep myself from losing my house and my car. And my car's paid off now. And I'm doing really good, making some extra payments on my house to try and get it paid down quicker. I've been, you know, I got a new washer and dryer. I just got a new dishwasher installed today. I need to get a new stove and a new refrigerator, so I'm knocking things off a little bit at a time. I have a very high work ethic. When I worked at McDonald's in Puyallup, when I first moved up here, I was with somebody who would take my car and not come home, and I would have to call into work. So I had terrible, terrible attendance. They gave me the opportunity to be a manager because of my work ethic. So they told me one day, as long as you can work on your dependability, we'll give you the manager position. And so I said yes. And from that day forward, I never called in again. I only worked there for a short amount of time after that, because then I got a job at the bingo hall. And working at the bingo hall, I made 25 cents less an hour than I was at McDonald's. But after I got through my 90 days, I was making 50 cents more an hour. So it was just a good job for me to go to. I was a bingo caller. I loved it. Except for when the bingo people, like, they have certain bingos where you don't have to call any O's or any B's or whatever, like in a certain row. And if they're on a game like that and you have an O showing and they don't need an O showing, the bingo players will bang their daubers on their table until you move that letter out of the window. But it was fun, and I made a shit ton of money. I used to drive a Mazda MX-3 in red. That was the first car I ever financed. I loved that car. I loved it so much. That's the car that got repoed because of my ex-boyfriend. Let's see. I didn't get my driver's license. Erica talked about this. I didn't get my driver's license until I was 19 when I moved up here, because when I was younger, I had my permit, I want to say 3 different times. and they all expired because my stepdad at the time would not let me use my parents' car to take my drive test because of insurance. When I moved up here, he finally let me use the car to take my drive test. I barely passed. I barely passed, but I passed, and I was so excited that I had my license. The first car I ever bought was a Dodge Charger. No, not the Dodge Charger you're thinking about. It was like this brown, I think it was a two-door hatchback. And yeah, it was a stick. I didn't know how to drive a stick at the time. I had somebody that had tried to teach me when I was younger, but I never really learned how to drive a stick. So my sister came with me, and I drove that car home by myself on the freeway, never having really driven a stick in my entire life. It was a really easy clutch though. So yeah, that's another fun fact, is I know how to drive a stick. I know a lot of people don't. I just put a little bit Act Natural on my lower lashes. I kind of got off track there a little bit too. With my ex-husband, like I was saying, I always wanted to be able to take care of myself. And I think it's very important because you just never know what can happen in life, and you should be able to take care of yourself financially, and you should never just depend on somebody else, because God forbid an accident happens or whatever. A woman needs to be able to provide for herself and her family just in case something was to happen. You know what I mean? And so after what happened with my mom and the struggles that she went through, I'm using this AOA Studio. I think it's Famous. I just never wanted to be in that situation where I couldn't take care of myself. You know, when you see that happen, you know that divorce can happen. It's a thing, you know, and I've had loss in my life too. So I also know that here today, gone tomorrow, and I need to be able to take care of myself. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of irritated my ex, and the fact that I made more money than him. I mean, I don't really know, but I think maybe deep inside a little bit that affected him. I'm not sure. I can be an extreme pushover. And unfortunately can be easily taken advantage of, which has happened numerous times to me. But I'm learning. I'm using my Pat McGrath that I got in my Bizy Beauty PR box as well. This stuff feels so good. But anyways, this video is super long, you guys. I'm super sorry. I don't know if that was 50, but that was kind of a rundown of little things that people may not know about me. Oh, I've had 2 major back surgeries, one when I was 12 and one when I was 15 because I had scoliosis. I had my gallbladder taken out. I had surgery on my elbow because I can't make my hand flat like this one. And so I got it checked out when I got my first back surgery, and they said that they thought maybe I had broken my arm when I was younger and nobody ever knew, and so it didn't set right. So they tried to fix it. So that's why I got a scar there. I don't know what else. Anyways, yeah, this video is super long anyway. Thank you, Kat, for doing another week with me. I love you. I appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to see your video and all the things that you have to chit-chatty about. And if you want to do something like this next week, have at it. If any of you would like to do this, like 50 facts about me that you might not know or whatever, just share your life story. I guess I kind of put my own little spin on this, but I hope you guys will do it too, because I enjoy learning stuff about people. And yeah, if you're new here, if you haven't joined Nene's Glam Squad, I hope you'll go down below, hit that subscribe button, turn up the notification bell so you can get notified of any and all future uploads. If you could give the video a thumbs up, it truly means a lot to me. And leave a comment, say hi, let me know that you stopped by. And thank you to Erica for tagging me in this. I appreciate it so much. And I'm going to be working on the movie one as well, so that'll be coming up. Or it might have been on Mask Monday, because I haven't filmed my Mask Monday yet, and I'm planning on doing the movie thing in my Mask Monday. Anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go. I gotta get out the door so that I can go to the pumpkin patch. All right, I love you all so very much. Have an amazing morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever time of day it is that you're watching this. Take care, stay safe, and I hope I'll see you all in my next video. Bye, guys.